Yeah, it's a
And
problem.
you know,
And
and,
go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think this, and it kind of ties into this next question, and I think we're going to have some fun with it. But when you start to talk about, and this, you know, like is Data Vault the right fit for a solution for all data warehouses? Again, now the concepts are changing, right? What do you, and you're going to, I know you're going to tell us a little bit more about data warehouse, but I love the shift of the mentality to saying what we deliver is really the information to an information mark. So our business users of differing departments, whatever, can consume. So yeah, in Data Vault, does that, we already start talking about changing what we call our warehouse at work. Do you find that a lot of people start to kind of struggle with the word data warehouse when they start working with Data Vault?
So, and I'll tell you exactly what I tell my classes, my students. I can be a little shocking sometimes, but our industry is notorious for taking terms and bastardizing them. And data warehouse is one of those terms that has occurred with. If you look at the definition of a data warehouse, the true definition of a data warehouse, Bill Inman gave us this back in the 80s. A data warehouse is a subject-oriented, integrated by business key, time-variant, and non-volatile collection of data in support of management's decision-making process or in support of auditability as a system of record. Nowhere in Bill's definition, nowhere is there a discussion of structure, right? And so people say data warehouses, that's just for structured data. Really? No, it's not. And so the whole concept of the data warehousing being tied to just structured data is so incorrect in a perspective. It's unbelievable to me. The other thing that you don't hear in this is you hear nothing in this about technology. There's nothing that says in Bill's that this is a collection on Hadoop. This is a collection of data that's stored in Oracle. This is a collection of data that's stored in a centralized location. That was never the concept. It was never the definition. And so Data Vault takes this idea of the true definition of a data warehouse, because that's Bill Inman was mentoring Dan, right? So these concepts is the true concept of what a data warehouse is, met beautifully with what Dan was working with, because he had to deal with teams that were distributed globally, data that was distributed globally, right? And so data wasn't sitting in one place. And what we teach in Data Vault is that the beauty of the model and the methodology is it spans environments. It is not tied to any platform. We use an ANSI SQL standard with the builds. That's our recommendation. It is ubiquitous. It goes across all environments. And so we talk about data being in, we have global companies that are doing this. They have data in Australia. Of course, we have, data in Europe. Well, you've got GDPR issues, right? You can't move data across these boundaries, right? How do you solve these problems? And so we have an app for that. So it's in the approach, right? But the idea is that, Data Vault was built for massively, globally distributed environments, both in data, in teaming, right? Adhering to different policies. You can imagine what it was like having to build something and throw it over the wall to the intelligence community, wherever they are, right? Not break anything, maintain policy and standards. Like, that doesn't happen by mistake. It happens through design and engineering. That's the only way that happens. And so Data Vault was always conceived, built, and implemented across multiple platforms, multiple infrastructures. So it's just this. And so when people will talk about this and they'll say, well, I don't have a system that's big enough for that. So what we generally say is, unless you're like a mom and pop shop with one cash register and you're never planning on expanding, don't build a Data Vault. It's over engineering. If you're a business that's growing, if you're a business that could be bought, think about that, or could be in a position to buy something else, how do you ensure that, you you're actually building with resilience, right? So as things change, right, you can absorb those changes. We say you should be able to build, recommended in a data vault fashion. You can take the methodologies, the architecture, the ways of working inside of a data vault, and you can apply them to a third normal form or a star schema. It will work every time, right? That's why it's more than the model. The model is an enabler, but it spans environments. And again, going back to, why are there hash keys? Why was there a change from Data Vault 1 to Data Vault 2? Because we have to span environments, right? And we need a deterministic way to ensure that when we integrate on the business key, we have the same value. If I'm generating sequence keys for the same value coming off of a source system, I'm going to get a completely different key, right? But if I have a deterministic way of doing that, I can integrate. So that goes back to what is a hub? It's a unique list of business keys. I can integrate on the single hub for this concept of customer. Guess what? I now have a way to actually enable my entire enterprise to look at customer and all of the history from any given source system tied to that key and be able to pull that together and report on it. So there you go.
Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing. That is definitely a beautiful thing.